All right, guys, today I just kind of wanted to go into the story of how I found this whole happiness, bliss thing that I was telling you guys about in the last video. We're just gonna try to run through it and tell you guys step by step what was going on during my day. This day actually started with a morning teardown in the mirror. Some of you guys may know what this is. You look in the mirror and you're asking yourself why you suck so bad. Why are you not able to do the things that you know you're supposed to be doing? You know, why are you not able to overcome these miniature little fears that are getting in the way? The morning teardown went something like this.
Like, Marvin, like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't realize like something so small could hold you back. Dude, I really didn't know that you were such a freaking loser.
Of course not in those words, but with all this positivity and everything, this was like 2 months ago that I'm having this internal conversation with myself as I look in the mirror. So with all that positivity and stuff, you're still gonna have these moments where you have those lapses in positivity and the negativity sinks in. So I took a shower. As I was in the shower, I just kept on with the negative self-talk until eventually I got to the point where I was like, I remembered this feeling where I try to tear myself down in order to build myself up. Like, if I say enough bad things, maybe I'll get myself to do something good. That's never worked in the history of my life. I was like, okay, I know this road. This is a familiar road to me. I'm done with this. Marvin, I'm proud of you. You've accomplished a lot in your life. You've accomplished so much. And this is just one more hiccup in the road and we just got to figure it out. Okay, let's just take some time to figure it out. And after I said that to myself, I was able to not beat myself up and able to get more in a positive light. So basically I started off with one of my tangible tips, which is coffee. And I was watching Gary Vee on YouTube. As he was going through his usual talks that he gives, I just really started noticing myself taking away more and more little tidbits from what he was saying. And it probably was because of the coffee, because it gives you more energy and it honestly releases a more positive feeling for me. So I think he was speaking in Singapore. He said these things that just stood out to me and I wrote them down. One, he thinks he's always awesome and he doesn't judge himself. That's where I grabbed the no self-judgment from. Someone should help other people without wanting anything in return. Kinda inspiration for this channel. We should try to use social media to reach people. It's okay to want to do different things. Validation and thinking that things are okay is something that I ran across a few times during this time period. I was always beating myself up for not sticking to one thing, because the way that my brain works, like I have so many different interests. It's really, really hard for me to stay focused on just one thing. I tend to bounce to these different things. And I try to find ways to put them all together, sometimes successful, sometimes not. But that's something I've had a really hard time with. And in this particular talk, if somebody asks a question, they're like, I'm all over the place. How on earth do I just focus on one thing? And Gary's response was, if you do enough, you don't have to pick one thing. And if you want to succeed, don't fake it till you make it. This is something that I've believed in wholeheartedly for a long time now. I can't get on here and try to be someone that I'm not. And it just gave that extra reassurance that I'm thinking correctly. I just needed that assurance because I can't fake it. My face will show it. Going back to number 5 about how it's okay to do different things. I had a conversation a few days before with a friend who was basically just throwing out all kinds of excuses as to why I wasn't being as productive as I should have been or doing the things that I know we're supposed to do. And the simple response of it's okay and that's okay, like that's your process and that's how you're getting through it, it makes all the difference in the world. Because when you're throwing out those excuses, oh, I know I should be doing better, the thing that you're expecting in return is, yeah, so how do we get you on that track? How do we get you to where you need to be? And instead of someone just responding with that, okay, let's get you to where you need to be, it's like acceptance of you and your process that you're going through. And that's okay. So we just need to figure out what works best for you. Like, that is such a relief to hear from somebody. It's really disarming in a way. That experience mixed with this Gary Vee experience, and then my ability to have freedom nowadays, it all compounded together into this experience. Because I've been able to save a lot of money over the last 5 years, I have a lot of freedom right now to do these things that I want to try to do. It's really one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It's like one of the first times I've been truly, truly free, not dependent on anyone. If I don't bring in any money, I don't have to worry, which is a really cool experience. This whole freedom thing is a huge part of this whole process. But yeah, don't want to do it forever because I can't do it forever. I don't have that much where I can just sit back forever and do nothing and not bring in some sort of income. So I have to start bringing in income. It's just a matter of I have time. So that's the freedom part that I'm talking about. After I watched Gary, I decided decided that I was going to sit down and figure out, like, what do I really want to be doing? Why am I not giving my all into this right now? Why am I not making videos or doing art, or what do I need to be focusing on? Like, really focusing my time on, because I'm dabbling here and I'm dabbling there. Where do I need to be? What do I need to do? So for the first time, I sat down with a list and wrote down everything that I loved about my previous jobs, everything I hated about my previous jobs. I just found that there was these certain patterns. One pattern is I love to feel like I'm necessary or needed in a certain position at that job. I feel important. I need to do things the best way possible. Like, if I feel like something's not the best way to do it, then I don't want to do it at all. If I'm just truthful and honest and open, I can talk to anyone. I can have a great conversation with anyone. It's just a matter of being honest, open, and truthful, and feeling like you can do that with people, I guess. But those are just a few of the things that I found. So after I came up with this list, I hopped in the car because it was time to go to boxing. Boxing is one of those things that, or sports, or working out in general, it's one of those things that tends to free up my mind. I mean, yes, I do still sometimes like think about other things. I get distracted and then I have to refocus myself. But working out and exercising is generally something I can focus on, especially with boxing. It's like I have to be focusing or else I can, get knocked upside the head. So I was focused on going there, and through getting focused on going there, it focused me into the moment. So I was in the car on the way to boxing. That's all I was really focusing on. And then I was really, really grateful that I had taken the time to figure out my core values. I was really grateful for that time and for listening to that video from Gary and like having this meeting with a friend of mine that like all these things, lettuce. So all these things were just going on in my head at the same time, and I was just feeling gratitude for being around positive people and to be listening to the things I was listening to and to have this freedom. I'm so grateful to have the freedom that I have right now and not have to go punch a clock in the morning. And then with that came that shower moment. That shower moment was I got over that negativity of me beating myself up, and I started talking positively to myself. Let's just figure out how to do this, man. So with those three things combined,
We now had the power to rule them all.
So with those three things combined, I found myself in a state of bliss just riding in the car. I'm driving the car, looking out the window. Everything just seemed brighter and better. The mountains were beautiful. I'm driving past fences that have like torn up plastic on them because, the wind going by, and they've been there for years probably. That looked beautiful to me. The rocks and the dirt as I'm driving by, it looked great. It just was such an intense feeling of happiness that I was just blown away. Like inspired tears. Not that that's extra special coming from me, but just sitting here like, wow, I'm really, really happy right now. Like this happening like made me think, okay, I have to figure out how I got to this point. Like holy crap, like how did I get here? So I thought back to everything that had been going on. I wrote all this stuff down. Like I literally have this written down in like paragraphs written out with a list. And I just wrote down this whole experience because I wanted to remember it for exactly as it happened, because I felt like this feeling was too important to hold to myself. I needed to share like how you get to this feeling. That's where I came up with the no self-judgment, having gratitude and being in the present, being in that moment. That's how I actually came up with it. And it's worked since then. It hasn't quite been as intense as the first time I experienced it, but it's worked every single time. Every time I've put all three of those things together, there's like a little smile that comes on my face, or I just immediately get into a better mood. It's kind of crazy how it works. That's pretty much how it happened. I guess there's like little details that I probably left out, but as a core story, like that's what happened for me to come across this. And I think next time I'm going to try to focus on immersing yourself into things. How can you become immersed in things? Because I realized that through that activity that I did, things that I loved and hated about my previous jobs, if I wasn't able to immerse myself into my work, like really get lost into it, I hated it. And I thought it was like, I'm just lazy, I don't like working, but that's not the case at all, because I've written a book. That took hours of me sitting down and writing it out. It took hours of drawing all the pictures. I've accomplished huge projects at work, working extra hours at home. I've worked hours upon hours learning new things on YouTube and watching Udemy videos and doing all kinds of things. So I know I'm not lazy. Gary actually touched on this recently, is that laziness normally tells you that you're just doing something that you don't want to be doing. I don't think there's anything truer that could be said, is because anytime I don't want to be doing something or I hate it, I get lazy and I don't want to do it. If it feels like work, I don't want to do it. That's a whole other topic in itself of how you can immerse yourself into things that you normally would not be immersed into. And I think that we can actually apply these happiness values and principles into our work. Stick with me. I'm gonna try to put some thoughts together on that for next time. There is actually a way that I've been able to immerse myself into different things that I normally would not be able to. Things that I would normally have hated and shied away from completely. I've been able to get myself into those things. With that being said, that is a long video for today, so we're gonna go ahead and end it there. That is the story of how I came across this whole 3 pillars to bliss, or whatever you wanna call it, the GPS to happiness. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Try it out for yourself, by the way, and let me know how it goes down in the comments. Like it, share it. I'd be curious, like I'm super curious, as this is one of the reasons I made the channel, if this actually works for you. Are you able to sit down in a quiet place and take 5 minutes to do all 3 of these things and get your mind focused on the present? Are you able to not judge yourself, and are you able to get into that grateful state? I would really love to hear if you guys are able to do that for yourselves. So please respond, and I'll see you later.